How's it going, everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Cheers to those of you that have your beers. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Anyway, in the comments for some time now, periodically I get someone ask me, hey, Justin, what do you think about going on long trips? Like, what kind of tools do you take, or what kind of things would you recommend taking with you on a long trip, like in case my car doesn't start or breaks down, or something unforeseen happened during my travel? Well, first let me tell you guys, I've been a AAA member now for about 13 years. And I love AAA. I even worked for AAA. And when I worked for AAA, I used to see all different types of situations. So that being said, I think I got a little bit better than rough idea as far as what it is that you can expect if something like this happens. So I'd like to share my opinion with you, and I'd like to share and cover some of the things that I would take with me on a long trip throughout this video, and some things that you can do to prepare yourself. Alright, so the truck's broke down, it won't start, you're not sure what happened, you go to pop the hood, you're hoping it's something small, something you can fix on the fly, you don't have any tools with you, you're not sure what to expect, you get this harebrained idea, you know what, I just don't know what I could do right now outside of the fact that, I know what I can do, I could call AAA. So you dig your cell phone out, you got no reception, you're looking around to see if you have reception, you can't remember the number, so you dig your wallet out, you're looking for your AAA card, and then next thing you know, you're typing it in and you're preparing yourself for what could be the longest walk of your life, and you didn't bring any water with you at all. So you're looking for reception, you got to go to like the highest peak of some mountain, you're in the middle of the desert, you still can't seem to get reception anywhere. Verizon, right? More bars, more places, but at any rate, it's just not happening. So the next thing you know, you don't got any water and you flop dead. And next thing you know, the buzzards are out there. They're looking to eat you. You're trying to shoo them away. Things are not going well. Well, you could always thumb a ride back into town. That's always another option. Hopefully someone can pick you up, give you a lift. But that might not always work out so well for you either. So, that being said, let's take a look at some of the tools that I'd recommend that you take with you. Now, I probably didn't cover everything, and you're more than welcome to leave them down in the comments. But that being said, let's just see what kind of things that I would take with me on a long road trip, even though I have AAA. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at a few things that I think you should have for an emergency roadside assistance kit if you don't have AAA. So this is just a few things that if I'm going to get ready to go on a long trip somewhere, these are a couple of items that I would toss in the back of the truck just in case shit happens. So first thing up, I know you guys have seen this in past videos, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but get you some kind of jump pack in case your battery dies. So we've got the Versa Pro 2. We keep this in the truck at all times because you just never know when your battery is going to die. I mean, a couple of the things that are most common to happen to you, either you get stuck and you need some form of recovery, or your battery dies, so you need some way of being able to jump start it, or maybe you're low on coolant, your vehicle starts to overheat, so you need to top it off. These are a few things that we're going to talk about during this video as I show you some of the things that I'll put in a toolbox for long road trips. Alright, so outside of the recovery strap and the jump pack and a gallon of water, which is always handy to have, let's talk about some of the tools. Now I got this Hyper Tough box over at Walmart for like 25 bucks or 30 bucks. Inside it, I've got a basic little 1/4-inch socket set, metric, because that's what's going to help me to be able to disconnect or reconnect the battery terminal should they come loose. Let's face it, you're not going to be your whole mobile mechanic out there. You're not going to be pulling intakes and starters and things like that off. But these are just some things that you might want to fix a couple of the smaller things. Something else in case your exhaust mount ends up giving out and your exhaust is dragging, you might want some mechanic wire. If you've tried to jump start the battery and that didn't work and you get a click, 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 you might need a hammer or some kind of pry bar of some kind. These are both Hyper Tough, fairly inexpensive. You can get both of these for under 15 bucks at Walmart as well. you might have to tap your starter and then try to give it another turn and see if your vehicle doesn't crank over. Usually, if it is a starter issue, your vehicle will crank over and you just saved yourself a phone call and an extra added trip somewhere. Another thing I picked up that I thought was kind of handy is this little Gerber Sheffield multi-tool. It's got pliers, you got a can opener in here because, you know, if you're ever stranded, you might throw a ready-to-eat meal or some kind of thing like that in the back of your car, or at least a couple of cans of food just in case, maybe even a little burner kit or some kind. Also a little Sheffield knife, so in case you have to cut a hose down or something like that, you just never know when a knife might come in handy. I got a 1/4-inch ratchet and a little extension, as well as the socket that fits my lug nut. So you might find out what size your lug nut is, whether it's 19 millimeter, 21 millimeter. Mine is 22 or 7/8. So I've got a little 22 millimeter in there, and I've got a breaker bar tucked under the seat of my car or truck. Next drawer, again, you're not trying to be MacGyver and you're not trying to be your own Superman mobile mechanic out there, but you know, a nice test light to just check a few fuses might come in handy, just to see if you blew a fuse out and maybe that's why your car's not starting or turning over. A flashlight in case you have to work in the dark. This is a Quantum. Both those items can get picked up for less than 10 bucks over at Harbor Freight. Some mechanic pliers, again, so you can tie your exhaust up or whatever else might have broke. Scissors always come in handy. Maybe you need some needle nose to pull the fuses with, or maybe it's a hose clamp that gave out, so maybe you need some pliers to take the hose clamp off, or maybe while you're inside eating somewhere, your truck was parked for a period of time, you might need some wire strippers, maybe some crimpers of some kind, to fix a wire that got chewed on by some kind of rodent, in which case a lighter is also handy as well. Maybe even a nice little small pair of wire cutters of some kind. And here in the bottom drawer, I've got just a little assortment tray of extra little crimpies, butt connectors and things like that. I've also got a handful of various size hose clamps, just in case a hose clamp failed or came loose or something like that. I've also got a few different styles of mini fuses that fit my truck, so in case it is a bad fuse, I can change it out and be my own hero. Electrical tape, again, if you're having wiring issues. Maybe you have a vacuum line that came undone or that disintegrated or whatever. It's always nice to just have a little bit of vacuum hose in here just in case. And then same goes with wire. You know, again, if your wire got chewed through or something, you need a little bit of wire, you have that. All right, something else to think about is if your vehicle's not starting and you're cranking and cranking, so it's not a starter problem, it's not a battery problem, it's not a fuse problem, it's not a poor connection. What else could it be? You know what? I've seen a lot of fuel pumps come in lately, and to be honest, some of them still work if you just spray a shot of brake cleaner down the throat of the intake tube, and then you can usually get your truck to start that way or whatever. So something else to consider that you might want to have in the go box. Again, you might throw some glow sticks in here or a roadside flare. That might not be a bad idea. There's probably a handful of items that I failed to mention, or some other items that might be kind of handy to throw in a kit like this just to keep in the back of your truck. If you guys can think of anything, please feel free to leave it down in the comments and let others know, so that way they got an idea of what it is they can carry with them for an emergency roadside kit. Alright, so that'll pretty much wrap up Justin's emergency roadside assistance kit. Guys, I hope you learned something, or at least you have an idea now of some things that you can potentially do if your truck does fail to start, or you run into some kind of roadside assistance immediate need. Granted, there are other things that you want to check before you take off for your long road trip. I've seen a ton of used cars come in when I was at the dealership that didn't have the jack or the spindle wind to unwind the spare tire from the truck. Some vehicles just don't have a jack or spindle wind. They might give you a little tiny air compressor that you can plug into your cigarette lighter or whatever and fill your tire if you're low on air. But you always want to check to see if your vehicle does have a spare, and if it does have a spare, you want to make sure you know how to use it. Maybe go outside one day and just practice winding it up and lifting your car, truck, or SUV up off the ground and taking a tire off, you know what I mean? You can crack the lug nuts loose while it's on the ground, while the full weight of the vehicle's on the ground, and then wind it on up, and then spin the lug nuts off, swap your tire out, and there you go. Tighten it down best you can, and when you get to your nearest tire shop or garage that's open, you can have them torque the lug nuts down for extra safety if that's a concern for you, and have them check the other tires just to make sure everything's on the up and up before you start heading on down the road. Again, it's always nice to have some kind of cooking kit. So I have a little alcohol stove and I got a little propane stove that's nice to just toss in the glove box. I've been doing that for years now. My brother does it when he's up there working for Weyerhaeuser, measuring trees and everything. He's got the same exact little burner that he just tosses in his glove box. So if he needs to heat up some water or boil some water on the fly, he can. And it's always just handy to have like an extra ready to eat meal. Like Mountain makes a pretty good variety of meals you could pick up from Walmart too. Or you can go to your local swap meet, maybe somebody's selling some MREs out there, or you can order them online or whatever. But it's always nice to actually have a meal that's ready to eat. Oh, REI. REI also has a nice large variety of meals that are already ready to make. You just add hot water and you got a nice meal. So having something like that, a gallon of water for you to drink, not necessarily just a gallon of water for you to top off your radiator with, but a gallon of water to drink might be a nice little additive too, especially if you have a little bit of room in the back to put that in. Maybe some blankets in case you're in colder climate, or a sleeping bag of some kind. That might not be a bad call either. Make sure you have a cell phone charger to charge your phone. Like, there's probably a laundry list of things that I didn't mention that you might already carry as it is. But that's all I got for this video, guys. Look, I hope it helped. That's all I got. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.